Well, good afternoon and welcome to Florida Repertory Theater's Stage at Home virtual talkback series for Friday, October 2nd, 2020. Introduce today's panelists, three powerhouses of regional New York and Broadway stages whose work at Florida Rep as musical leading ladies is legend. Sally Bowles from our 2018 production of Cabaret, Jillian Louis. Hi, Jillian. The star of our 2018-19 production of Tenderly, the Rosemary Clooney musical, Susan Haefner. Hello, Susan.
Hello.
And Bethany Gwen Perkins, who dazzled audiences in last season's smash hit, Always Patsy Cline. Ladies, welcome to Stage at Home.
And if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, sir.
Stars in your eyes, love never made a fool of you. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted.
How did you get started in the business? Did you start as a singer? Did you start as an actor? And where did you study?
Sure. I started in Philadelphia, grew up outside Philadelphia, just doing school programs and community theater programs there. I went to college for a year for something different, and took some time off and realized that this is what I wanted to do. I'd always studied, voice and acted in plays and everything, but I had never studied formally before that. So I took some time off and started working at a bunch of regional theaters, and then went back to school and ultimately graduated from NYU. And then I've been in New York ever since. I'm usually in New York about half the year and out of New York about half the year. I'll work here about 6 months and work elsewhere about 6 months of every year. So, and that's been it since then.
Totally gone over my head that you were in the original Broadway company of Thoroughly Modern Millie. And so tell us how that came about, because I think it's just a tremendous story.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I will say that every big break I had was a complete accident. Starting with my first Broadway show with State Fair, Thoroughly Modern Millie's second Broadway show, things just I was just busy doing other things and things came up. So in the case of Thoroughly Modern Millie, I had been, this was I think 2000, I had been unemployed for about 9 months, and I lived with a guy named Greg who knew the choreographer for Thoroughly Modern Millie, and they were doing an out-of-town tryout, and he showed up one day in my kitchen and said, I can get you an audition. So this was May, before they did the out-of-town tryout in September. And so I went to that audition and I didn't get hired. I did a good job, but they were looking for someone not in the Actors Union, and I happened to be in the Actors Union. So I said, okay, forget about that. Well, cut to the middle of September, and they were in rehearsal in La Jolla. They do an out-of-town tryout before they go to Broadway. And Aaron Dilley was let go, and Sutton Foster, who was the existing understudy in La Jolla, got moved up to play the role in La Jolla. And they sat around and said, okay, we don't have anyone to understudy Sutton. So my friend Greg shows up to the creative team and says, hey, you remember Sue Haefner? You liked her audition, didn't you? And they were like, oh, yeah, oh, okay. So I happened to be at my grandfather's 95th birthday party in my hometown of Rochester, New York. I had had a couple drinks and we were having a clam bake, and I get a phone call. And the music director, Michael Rafter, wanted to hear me sing over the phone. So I kicked my family out of the house, and I just picked a song that I could sing a cappella, and I was memorizing the note on the piano for when he called me. He said, I'll call you back in a half an hour. So he calls me back, my family is outside, and I sing Somebody Somewhere. I remember the song, and I was on a plane the next day.
Tell us a bit about working with your co-star, Becky Barta, and what it was like. I know she's, I say this with love, and I hope she'll see this one day, but she's a force of nature, Becky. And she has a long history with the production. So what was it like working with Becky and then with Maureen Heffernan, our one of our ensemble directors?
Yeah, well, when I first met Becky, I actually met her in my callback, but I didn't realize that she had already been given the role, and I didn't realize her history with the role, or with the show. So at first I was super intimidated because she was a part of the original production, I think in the late 90s, as Patsy Cline. And she played Patsy I'm going to screw up these numbers, but a full career of playing Potsy.
A bunch of times, yeah.
Yeah, until, and with hand in hand with the writer, Ted Swinley, she helped adapt it, and then she understudied it, and she's just, this show is a part of her whole body. And then she went on to play Louise, and she's done countless productions as Louise as well. So I was incredibly intimidated because I still considered myself, I had done it once before, but our performance was only it was a little over 1 week. So it was basically enough to memorize 28 songs, and about that, there was a lot more to explore. So I was really excited to have time with that. But yeah, I was intimidated, but I mean, she was, of course, very warm and welcoming, and just a complete encyclopedia of knowledge about anytime I had a question of like, why are we interacting with the audience here? What does this line here mean? And she would be like, oh, well, so Ted wrote this, and then when we were in the tryouts, we were doing this, and it got a big laugh, and it's just been a cute thing we keep in. It's actually, you're not missing anything. It's just like a cute bit that they did, which was just so helpful. And truly any question I had, she had an answer for, which really made my research very easy. I just had her right there, and she was super supportive. And also, I mean, she was such a pro. She had done this so many times before, and no way did she ever pressure me to do anything a certain way, anything like that. She just knew to kind of let it simmer and see what this specific production would be, which was a huge relief.
I guess a moment to thank all three of our panelists. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Jillian, for spending the afternoon with us and for going to all the trouble to get the music just right. So thank you. Let's have one big round of applause for them. Thank you so much.
What a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And I see that some of our panelists have learned how to clap. That's terrific. You're learning how to use the Zoom reactions, so we're definitely learning things. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the end of another discussion. So thank you all so much for joining us for the first episode of the Fall Stage at Home series. Be sure to tune in next week to reunite with the team behind our 2015 production of I Loved, I Lost, I Made Spaghetti. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to catch the last episode of Stage at Home, click on the video at the top left of your screen. If you want to catch all of our past episodes, there's a playlist below. Just click on that. But the most important thing is subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our exciting content coming up. Thanks so much for your support.